Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this Frontline Fireside chat. On behalf of CWSI, Mopco and Blout, I want to thank you for tuning in. My name is Wincho. I'm here today with three experts of the CWSI group. Good afternoon, Paul.
Afternoon, Wincho.
Good afternoon, Theirry.
Hey, Wincho.
And good afternoon, Björn. Before we start our chat, we want to start with a video which displays the topics that we're going to discuss today. Start the video.
Samsung Galaxy Rugged Series.
Galaxy X Cover 7 and Tab Active 5. We depend on our devices to get through the day. It's protected from water and dust. And we can work with our gloves on.
We can charge multiple devices at the same time.
They help us collaborate with a bright and immersive display.
Jane, we have a problem. We need you in the kitchen.
We can communicate efficiently. I'm on my way. Get connected fast, over cellular or Wi-Fi.
Hi, Lala.
We can hear
have
clearly when work gets loud.
It's not working.
And they're built to take a drop or two.
They help us work efficiently in the field, respond quickly to last-minute deliveries, keep the device powered without a battery.
We can continue to work without plugging in. We can seamlessly scan barcodes
Straight from our device. And they let us work with peace of mind.
Proceed to accidentally capture photos for evidence.
Copy that. Capturing photos is seamless on the wide display.
We can seamlessly make payments.
We can seamlessly capture customer signatures.
From morning to evening.
Start to finish. Samsung Galaxy Rugged Series.
Connects life with work.
Connects pros with pros.
And connects you
to new possibilities.
Hi, Björn. Welcome again.
Hi, Wincho.
How was your commute today?
Very calm. It was a calm, sunny morning in Belgium. Not like most other Wednesdays in this time of the year. But good to know.
Yeah, and Wednesday maybe is a home working day with the technology that we're used to nowadays.
Sure. So so everybody since this famous thing happened a couple of years ago. We don't want to speak out loud the name anymore, but
no.
I think home working is more than before. With all the technology we can offer, it's perfect.
Yeah, the only thing is that we need to time it because we go to the office at the same day and we will work at home at the same day as well.
That's the other...
that's something else. Hey, Björn, can you tell me a bit about yourself and the role that Mopco plays within the CWSI group?
Sure. So my name is Björn Kemps. I'm working as a Client Solutions Director in the Office of the CTO within the CWSI group. Working for Mopco for almost 13 years now. So my role is mainly focused on strategic customers, supporting strategic customers, strategic products, a little bit of innovation as well. And I think that's most of it. So I'm also one of the main contacts for Samsung within the group. Yeah.
Okay. And you told me that you started 13 years ago at Mopco.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about how it was 13 years ago compared to nowadays?
Yeah, I think 13 years ago was a whole different world. If we focus on, let's say, tablets and smartphones, was the beginning of the usage of these consumer devices in business.
Yeah.
That's where we learned a lot, how to manage them, how to use them, how to secure them. But yeah, things changed.
Yeah, great. Okay, Björn, sounds really good. Can you tell me how you integrate the hardware? Because we know the Samsung hardware, of course. The Samsung hardware has built-in NOx platform and the solutions. Can you give an example how those two combined create
sure.
solutions that you deploy?
Yeah, so we sell both hardware and the software solutions called NOx Suite. As for the hardware, we have all the devices in portfolio which Samsung offers, but we see most of the successful ones are the ruggedized devices like the new X-Cover 7 and the Tactive 5, that one. But combined with the NOx Suite, so NOx Suite is the let's say the unique offering we see with Enterprise Edition devices, where we have 5 years of guaranteed software updates. So on the security part, the deploy part, so using NOx Mobile Enrollment, manage the devices through NOx Manage, and also eFOTA to make sure that all the operating systems are at the level we want to have them. So make sure that the latest security patches are applied, or they don't go up one level if the application is not ready for that one. But also the asset intelligence part, so the analytics part. So NOx Asset Intelligence is part of the suite. That all combined makes it a complete set of software features for the customers to manage their mobile fleet today.
Okay. Yeah. So the hardware, you focus mainly on the Enterprise Edition because of the 2-year availability, the 3-year warranty, and I heard even up to 7-year security patches on the S24. So that's covered then.
Yeah.
And then the NOx package to deploy the devices, secure the devices, manage them. And analyze them.
Yeah, and I think if I can add something on the Enterprise Edition, what's the unique offering there is in the Enterprise Edition devices, the NOx Suite license is included for the first year, and for year 2, 3, and 4 now even, we can offer it at a 50% discount. So it makes it a very attractive package, hardware, software combined with extra warranty, with all the security upgrades guaranteed for frontline work. Yeah,
it's a one-stop shop with the backup that you guys can implement it.
We can implement
and make
support.
it work.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah,
sounds good. We were talking about the hardware and the solutions that you provide to customers. That you can fill in different type of use cases. From the start deploying the device to retiring the device. And you want to tell us a bit more about Witte Gele Kruis, the White Yellow Cross use case.
So the Witte Gele Kruis is a known home care company in Belgium. So they're present in different regions. We serve them in almost every region, but this specific use case is for the Witte Gele Kruis West-Vlaanderen organization. So they deployed about 1,500 X-Core 5 devices to serve the nurses to do their planning, daily work, follow-up, reporting. All devices have been out of the box enrolled with NOx Mobile Enrollment. And they're managed through NOx Manage, and we use eFOTA as well on the devices.
And it is a rugged device because of the type of work that they do.
Yeah, so they can survive a drop from a table, or can be cleaned up as they need to be clean as always.
Water resistant as well.
Yeah, water resistant. So and because of the use of some in-house applications on the device, eFOTA is very important. It's business critical applications, so we need to manage the level of operating system on the device to make sure that even if there's an update, that everything is tested, validated before it's controlled, upgraded.
Yeah, because you don't want to push the update during the working day. And of course, you don't want the app to break down because it means that they cannot access the patient data. And that's critical, of course.
Indeed.
And especially in healthcare, people work with people and not really keen to use technology. Did you do something to simplify the whole workflow?
Yeah, so we automized as much as possible the workflow. So using the tools the Knox Suite provides us, it also helped to take away all the workload at the IT department. So we used the automatic enrollment. Also, if a device is reset, it's automatically enrolled back into the systems with all applications pushed without having the hustle of creating a Google account, things like that. So everything's automated on that.
Sounds good. So turn it on and focus on your key task, delivering healthcare and helping the people.
Yeah, that's what
Besides healthcare, the platform offers you these tools, but you can use them for different type of verticals and sectors. One of the other organizations in utilities, Unit 1, is also a use case that you guys finalized. Can you? Unity.
Yeah, no
Unity. Sorry.
So Unity is an organization. They are mainly focusing on installing and maintenance of internet-connected services, devices, mainly in utilities, energy stuff they are working. They have a workforce about 2,000 people, I think, and they also equipped all the engineers on site with smartphones and tablets. Yeah.
And can you tell me a bit on what their challenge was, or maybe not a challenge, what they wanted to accelerate, and what role Knox Suite played in there?
Yeah, so what they wanted to accelerate was efficiency and make sure that people are at ease, at comfort to do their work. And what they also did is they introduced the Choose Your Own Device program, because they wanted the people to use devices of their choice, and that's why they went for Choose Your Own Device. Yeah.
Okay. That's nice. I think that's also a way to attract new people.
Yeah. So the war on talent is still ongoing, and that's one of the reasons why they used it. And we developed a platform at Mobco called Workplace, which facilitates the whole life cycle of a device, from ordering the device in a web shop, so they can log into the web shop with their AD credentials, order the device of choice, let it deliver at home or at the office. We make sure with all the enrollment programs using Knox Mobile Enrollment that these devices are enrolled automatically into the Knox Manage system. And also, if there's questions afterwards, if they need end-user support, if they have repair issues, they can use the platform to raise a ticket, and it will all be followed up through the workflows automated in the system.
I can imagine that this way of working lowers the pressure on their own IT department.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that the reason is that they chose for this, or was there also another reason?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of like we said, giving the end user the possibility to choose the device they want to work with, but also make sure that IT doesn't need to be able to support all devices one by one. So make sure that it's scaled, that we can enroll it automatically into the systems, manage them. Even for the tablets, which are business critical, dedicated devices, we also use eFota there as well, to make sure that all the systems are up and running at the level they want to be up and running. Yeah.
Sounds really good. Sounds really good. So from the start to the end.
Yeah.
And what if something happens in between? Employee drops the device or facing some issues on the device. Do they call you as well, or do they call the internal IT department?
They can. It depends on the customer. And this customer, we still have the first line, let's call it that way, at the customer side. But we can offer as well first line support for the end users. Yeah, and then it depends on the agreement we have with the customer. We can, for example, for repair flows, we can send them a new device, a spare device. In the same box, they can return us the broken device. We get it repaired, put it back into the stock, to the swap stock. So to make sure there's business continuity, that the downtime for the end user is as low as possible. And by using the enrollment programs, devices get enrolled out of the box immediately again.
Great, sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
And what's the feedback from this specific customer?
Yeah, I think that they're very happy with the service now because they they can lower the pressure and the workload on their internal services and let's say outsource a little bit more to us. Yeah.
Great. Wow, great one. Did we miss something within these two customers?
I think so. I think we covered most of the stuff.
You will stay here to answer the questions
the
if
Q&A
questions come
session
in.
at the end.
Just I forgot to mention it. We have a chat. We will monitor the chat. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will answer them afterwards. Okay. Björn, thank you very much.
Welcome. It was a pleasure.
Talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, Theirry.
Hey, Wincho.
Good afternoon. How was your commute?
Probably the same as yours.
Yeah.
Some trouble around Rotterdam and Antwerp.
Antwerp, but it was okay. Yeah. Normally it takes more time. Yeah, true. Hey, Theirry, can you introduce yourself and tell us more about your role within the CWSI group? You work for Blauw, of course.
Yeah. Blauw is the Dutch branch of the CWSI group. I'm the country lead, so I'm responsible for this organization. I specialize in software development. So Blauw has his own software development team that helps customers over the whole group with the new solutions. And of course, we also are in the field of NOx Manage and other kind of UEM solutions.
Okay. And to give some more insight about the technology and the capabilities that you bring to the group, we are going to discuss a use case of a company with a typical Dutch name, Walter Koops.
Yep. Did you see them on the road?
Yeah. It was a coincidence, I saw it this morning.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a bit more on this case, on what you guys offer to Walter Koops?
Yeah, we help several transportation organizations, and Walter Koops is one of the biggest in Holland, I guess. It's a Dutch company, but you see them all over the place in Europe. They specialize in transportation solutions. So it's not only the transport, but also warehousing and things like that. And they are specialized in refrigerated transport as well.
Oh.
So we help them with the device management part of the solution because, well, we're talking devices, of course. But if you ask me, I would like to add applications as well, and we developed a phone book application for them as well.
A phone book, okay, and specific phone book.
Yeah,
there is a phone book on the device.
It sounds like well, it's an enterprise phone book, so the organization can manage the content what's in there. Mm-hmm. So they can decide what kind of address information or contact information is shared with the truck driver, and that saves them a lot of time. You make sure that everyone stays connected and is connected through this application. So it's more easy to find the contact users. For instance, if you're a truck driver, you're going to a customer and you're at the gate and you need someone to phone to open the gate. It's more easy to have the phone number right away in your device instead of calling your colleague about who to go.
And you want to have not a lot of handling when you are behind the steering wheel as well. I don't know if that's something that
the user experience needs to be specialized as well. So when you're driving, what we did is we made a more simple, robust kind of look and feel. So bigger buttons, so you can do your phone call more easily. But once you're off your Bluetooth connection, you're not on your car cat anymore. You have your more detailed information on the screen.
Yeah, that's really helpful. It's a good example on how you can solve a small problem. Yeah. And I ordered some things online as well. Walter Koops is not delivering it at home, but the local delivery guy is. And sometimes I have to pay for a package. Mm-hmm. most of the time is a package of my wife, but okay, that's another story. But what if the truck driver needs to deliver a package that needs to be paid? Is that also something that you took into account?
Yeah, well, and it's an interesting thing that something that Samsung can deliver as well, and as a part of a solution, and it's called pin on screen. So when you want to do a PIN transaction, you want to make sure that the whole transaction is secured. And of course, we know that with the Knox ecosystem, it's not only a hardware, but also software. Yep. You can make sure that the whole transaction is in a secure way containered in the Knox technology. Okay. And that's a use case where you can do that kind of transactions.
That sounds good. So if I would break this down, you have like your app development framework. You can create a new app from scratch. You can also grab the app of the customer and maybe make that a bit better. And you also integrate the Knox APIs to that application for payment, for example.
Yeah. Okay. So what happens is that you have your the software development kits of Samsung Knox, and that can help you more optimize the application. So, for instance, if you want to make different things with the buttons on the device, you can make sure that that happens in the application. Okay. So developers can maybe tune their applications better to the specific needs that the end user has with a specific device.
And that communicates with the hardware as well, because the hardware comes with the Knox platform on board.
And that's the good thing. So it integrates with the hardware, it integrates with the Knox managed solution. So it's the whole system end to end that you can manage.
More secure,
and it's more secure. Yeah. So that's good. That's the basic of most of the Knox solutions. Of course, there's a lot of security and manageability in there, and you can rely on that, and you can build on that with your own applications.
Well, sounds good. And for example, if a customer has like a feature request, he has like a eureka moment saying, I want this in my application. Yeah. Is that something that you guys also do? Are you flexible to change that and add wishes to it?
We do. Most of our applications and projects are custom made. So the customer comes to us and they say, okay, we need a specific solution for this business process, and we help them with that. So we design the application and do all the development, back end and front end, but also the maintenance, because we had a little chat with Björn about device life cycles. Yes, but you have the same with software, of course. So once the product is delivered, you also need to have maintenance on it, and we can help that.
Yeah, maintenance to keep it up and running with all security patches coming to those devices, security updates and firmware updates. You need to change something in your application as well. Yeah.
An application might break because there's some changes in Android or whatever, and then you need to have some maintenance and changes in the application in the source code. Okay. And deliver the application afterwards. Yeah. So you need to push the application on the devices again.
And that's something that you also do proactively.
Yeah, you should, actually. You should,
So for the IT department, it's good to have you on board, keeping an eye on that, checking that, and make sure that it keeps running and working.
I don't know a lot of customers that have app developers and security specialist guys in the same room. But we as a group, we can deliver those knowledge and those skills in one service level, actually.
You have the architect, you guys do the app development and distribution. And later on, I will talk with Paul. Okay, sounds like a great approach. Is there something that we missed, or did you want to add?
Well, I think that
we covered it all.
Yeah, I think it covers a lot. I think it's good to understand that the Knox managed solution not only manage the device, but you can also manage your applications with it and it extend the feature set of it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Cherry. You will stick around.
Sure.
So if you have any questions for Cherry, please place them in the chat and we will answer them afterwards. So thanks again. Talk to you later.
Okay, welcome, man.
Yep. Last but not least, Paul. Good afternoon to you as well.
And to you, Wincho.
Yeah, we drove here by car, but you had a different vehicle to get here.
It had wings.
Yes, it had wings,
It's a slightly longer commute, although it was probably easier for me.
I think it's shorter. Yeah, you flew over in 1 hour or something?
Yeah, I live in the country though, so it's 2 hours drive to get to the airport.
It's almost the same driving from Netherlands to here. So, okay, yeah.
And I came to sunshine, so that's always nice. So you leave somewhere that's cold, dark and raining and you arrive in sunshine. It makes the journey easy.
And you arrive in the evening, I believe. So, yeah, then maybe you don't have a big change from sunny weather to rainy weather.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Hey, Paul, thanks again. You work for the CWSI group. Can you tell me a bit more about your role within the group?
Sure. So I work with CWSI, the Irish company, with from head of the group at the moment, I think. And I've been with them nearly 10 years. So I would have started out as a mobile engineer, but mostly what I work now as client solutions director, similar to Björn. Okay. So pre-sales, strategic relationships with customers, product development. My specialization is in the area of security and compliance, but I also do quite a lot of work with around the Samsung and VMware stack as well.
Okay, 10 years. For you, the same question, 2014. If you look at security and compliance, what's the big difference from back then to now?
I think it's much more in focus. I think you're seeing much more realization from senior leadership that security and compliance is not a nice to have. It's something that they have to manage the same way they manage other risks of the business.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Paul, we talked about some use cases with Björn and with Theirry. We are going to zoom in on a use case as well. I believe a special one from the Irish Guards, the Irish police. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, I suppose just for people not from Ireland, we call them the Guards because the Irish name for the police is An Garda Síochána. It means guardians of the peace. So that's where the name comes from. But yeah, we've been working with them for over 5 years. It's a really interesting use case. They originally came to us because they wanted to embark on a journey of mobility, but they wanted to get some understanding about even what device and platform to choose. So our first piece of work was to help them kind of decide between kind of Apple, Samsung, pure Android, what would be the best platform for them. Yep. And they chose Samsung for a couple of reasons. We can touch on some of them later, but primarily security was one of the main drivers. Yep. And then the flexibility of the Android ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah, as you said, 10 years ago, it was more around awareness. Today, security is a high topic for every company. But there are differences. And if you are a police force, security is top priority.
It's a given. I don't think it would be acceptable for them, especially when you're talking about mobile devices, which ultimately are consumer devices rather than a traditional enterprise device. So it is a big decision to decide on using that kind of tool. So you need to be very comfortable that you've got a security wrap around it.
I think you cannot say everything about this use case, but are there some things you can share with us to explain to us how you secure the data on the device? Because I can imagine if you are a police officer and you're outside with your device and you lose it because you're running after a thief or something, and it's on the ground, you don't want anybody to pick it up and then have access to the police network or something. So,
Yeah, there's a couple of different layers.
If you can share what you can share.
Sure, absolutely. There's a couple of different layers to security. So obviously this needs to be security on the device for the data. So as you mentioned, if it got lost or stolen or even just the way it's being used, because we do allow some degree of personal use on the device.
Really?
It's a COPE model. Oh. So we have to create a separation between work and personal. So that's using what's called a container, and it's just a layer of encryption.
Okay.
And then we have to protect the data when it's moving to and from the device. So, because people are on cellular networks, they could potentially try and use Wi-Fi networks. So we use a VPN, so an encrypted layer of communication. And then we have all the remote control and management capability through the Samsung platforms and the UEM tool that we're using. So that allows us, for example, the lost stolen use case, to remotely wipe the device, ensure that all the data has been removed, and to do all our updates and update the configuration profiles on the fly.
Okay, and that's when it's in use. And when you start with a new device, it's also automatically be deployed to the network and all policies are being enforced on that device.
Yes, exactly. As Björn mentioned earlier, that we use Knox Mobile Enrollment, KME. Mm-hmm. So out of the box, you can turn on the device. It automatically is known to be a guarded device. And then they can just enter their credentials and it will automatically download all the relevant apps and software and they can be ready to go in as little as 10, 15 minutes. So it makes the end user experience very easy and the IT requirement light touch.
Sounds good. And due to the nature of the work, I can imagine that they need a robust device. Also because of the Irish weather, I would say. Well, but maybe it drops or something else. Is that something that you also took into account?
Yeah, it was an interesting one because we assumed they'd want to go for something ruggedized like an X-cover. But they were really looking to create this as a start of a journey. So the initial use case was for roads policing, which was outdoors and would expect to be ruggedized. But they had a vision that if they could get a device into everybody's hands, that it could be used for lots of different use cases. So they decided to go for very high-powered devices. So something with the best-of-breed camera, best-of-breed processor, best-of-breed in terms of memory. So they went for the Note devices initially, and now which is the S22, 23, 24 Ultra devices, which is the equivalent, which also had the advantage of the stylus. So you can imagine if you're a guy who's on a motorbike or a guy who's doing a roadside check in bad weather in the winter,
with gloves
you're going to have
on.
gloves and everything on. You don't want to be taking all those off to be able to use your device. So having the stylus and stuff makes that much more practical.
Okay.
And then the more powerful the device means the more powerful applications can run on it. So it increases the amount of use cases we can use the device for.
Okay, that's surprisingly. You would expect them to choose for a ruggedized device, but in this case, a high-end device.
Yeah.
I know that those high-end devices, much more power, much more memory, but you can also use them as a mobile workplace. You can connect them to a dock, a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse. Is that also one of the purposes that they use?
Yeah, so there's the technology Samsung have called DeX, which is specifically designed to allow you to plug in your device into a keyboard, mouse, and monitor, and essentially turn it into a computer. We initially looked at that for use cases around connected cars. So obviously, some of the cars have a big console, and we're thinking we can maybe plug into the console. That's kind of still being developed as a use case.
Okay.
But the primary one was during COVID. So they had a call center, the 999 call center, and they weren't obviously able to come into work anymore because we all had to stay at home for COVID. But they couldn't buy laptops for them all because every other company and organization in the world was trying to buy laptops.
Yeah.
So there was no queue to get ahead of. No. Yeah. So they were looking for a solution. So it was quite easy to buy keyboard, mice, and monitors, plug in the phone, and then use a VoIP, a voice over IP app. And all of a sudden they had a full call center up and running very rapidly in the space of a weekend nearly.
Yeah, they already had a laptop in their pocket, right?
Exactly. They had the processing power of these devices is the same as or better than some of the laptops that were in use in the organization at the time.
And if you look at the use case today, is that something that they still use, or was that something that was used to replace the mobile, the fixed workplace to the mobile workplace?
It's been phased back now because the people are able to come back into the office. Yeah. But it's there as a business continuity failover. So if there was a problem and they had to leave again, or something like the office went on fire or something like that, they would still be able to run them up. So that the solution is there as a backup.
Yes.
And we're also exploring other possibilities around DeX. So there's some solutions where potentially for unmanned police stations, so the small police stations in the country, they don't want to leave equipment in those buildings.
That's a good one.
So, they can bring the phone in, plug into a keyboard, mouse and monitor, do their work in the secure environment and then leave. But there's nothing there behind.
All the data is on the device, so when you leave, you have no data on the police station.
So the data is always where the officer is, which is the most useful.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And what are the first experiences like working like that? Is that something that's successful?
Yeah, I think it's been very successful. We were nearly up to 15,000 devices under management now. The goal would be that at that point, every frontline police officer would have a device in their hand, and there's an entire pipeline of applications rolling out now in behind that. To the first use case was roads policing. That was a very easy one, but it was so successful. I think there was a very interesting stat from that one where they used to take up to 60 days to process a roadside fine. So I stop you by the road, they take your details, that has to be written up back in the station, an email is sent, paperwork moves around, and eventually you will get a letter in the door looking for some money.
Okay.
Now that can be done within 60 seconds. Yeah. So good for the police.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't make us very popular with everybody else.
Yeah, and if you integrate the solution of Theirry, then I can pay it directly.
Exactly, that's the kind of thing that could be looked at in the future. Okay. There's some regulatory things to get around before you can do that sort of thing, but it is a very interesting space.
Not all technology is improvement, I would say. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a great use case, and is there anything else that you want to add?
No, I think
we cover it all.
I think we've covered most of it. I think the key element that's made this so successful, apart from the technology, is the service itself. So I think Björn and Theirry touched on this a little bit, in that the world of mobile changes very, very quickly. there's always, like Google always have new updates, Samsung always have new updates. And it's not like the old days where you'd have control of those. You have to move with the times. You have to update your apps.
Yeah.
So having the ability of things like eFoda for doing the patch management and the updates of the devices enable us to do really good change control all those updates, and be proactive in getting ready for releases of software.
Yeah.
And that's been a really good model of excellence within the police force. And I think it's really helped them embrace that modern way of working. So
I can imagine that, because you don't want a software update being pushed during the workday.
Definitely not.
Some of them work in the day, others in the night. So you can dynamically change the method when you push the update as well. So
exactly.
Yeah. So I always keep to the speed limit, but if the phone breaks down during writing out a fine, let it be mine then, okay?
Well, look, as we learned today, internet can go down sometimes.
Yes. Yeah, but that's a good one, because if internet goes down and somehow they cannot access the data on that device, what's the procedure then? Can they go to a local police station, grab a new device, enter their credentials, and...
They could, yeah, if it's just a connectivity problem. Most of the time, the applications are designed to cache information or store it, and then once they reconnect, they can put the information up. Okay. But like every technical solution, you should always have a failover, so they still will always have their notebook and the old-fashioned way of doing things.
Yeah, but pen and paper. Yeah.
If the device is completely broken, yes, they can just go get a new one and be up and running very, very quickly.
Okay, great. Thank you for these insights, Paul. Really good.
Pleasure.
Yeah, and I think we are moving on to the Q&A now. So please stay here and let's see if there are any questions. So let's see if there are any questions in the chat. Yes, here is one. How can eFoda support organization in app management and business continuity? App management, absolutely, Theirry. Yeah.
Well, one way to break an application is that to make it not compatible with the operating system. So we get operating system updates, for security and new features. Sometimes you want to delay that update.
Yeah.
You want to have the update because of security option, but you want to delay it maybe because the application is not ready for it.
Yeah.
So you need to reach out to your application developer, update the source code so they can, make changes and then provide the new application. But if there's, time constraints and there's a little bit of an issue, with eFoda you can say, okay, hold this update for a few days, make sure that the application is compatible, and then push the application and then do the operating system update. So that would help in such cases.
Yeah, and it's a big difference, I think, if you develop it or it is a third-party application, because in your case you can make sure that it works. You can do it yourself.
Yeah, but otherwise you need to reach out to the third-party provider of the application and tell them how it might break. So what we sometimes do for our customers is we test applications of others.
Yeah.
So we can onboard the application, do the testing, the basic testing, of course, of can we launch it and do we see any errors?
Yeah.
From there we can okay the application and then send it out as an update. Or we relay it back to the app developer party and say, hey, you need to change this and that.
Or deliver the log data to the customer, then they can contact the app developer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really good one.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Quite unique.
Yeah, okay. I think that answers the question. There's another one. How can IT support benefit from diagnostics, logs, functionality in NOx asset intelligence?
Let me tell you one.
Yeah, I think this one for you. Yeah.
So I think everybody who ever experienced some issues with an Android phone and where IT support asked them to provide logs, it's a hassle. I don't know if you already did it, but you need to go into the phone application, type in some codes, then download the logs on the device, and then make sure that they, one way or another, get sent to the IT department, to the support department. But with NOx Asset Intelligence, that's something which can be automated. So it means that support on fully managed devices can take the logs, they can activate the logs, they can download it directly from the device, so no end-user interaction needed. For let's say, combined cope devices is they can send a request to the user. The user needs to acknowledge that logs will be taken from the device and they will be sent directly to asset intelligence. So I think in terms of support, in terms of usability as well, user experience is a large leap forward.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if there are any more questions. Are there any other use cases for DEX at the guards? Yeah, we talked about that a bit on how they want to use it in the car with an extra console and a keyboard. Maybe you can tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, well, they're looking at like every car these days is basically got a tablet as its main console.
Yeah.
So there is capability to connect those into the devices. Obviously, there's things like Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but they're not quite the same as DeX. So we're trying to see, could we use that essentially as an additional screen and plug the DeX into it? So it could be quite a useful use case rather than having another laptop, which you'll see a lot of police forces will have a laptop on an arm in the car. Yeah. So it would mean, and if it's wireless, it would be even nicer again. So then the phone can just sit in a cradle, maybe with some kind of laptop or keyboard type solution.
So you create your ultimate mobile workplace. So you have your keyboard.
Yes.
That's really cool.
What we call what the guards call the device is a mobile data station.
Yeah.
So it's not a mobile device; it's a mobile data station. So they envision it as being the heart of an ecosystem of different use cases and different peripherals. So it's definitely one worth exploring.
Wow. Really
another use case is in healthcare, of course. We talked about wheels. Computer on wheels is a thing in healthcare, in the hospitals.
The cow, you called it, isn't it?
The cow.
The cow, computer on wheels.
Basically that's a computer, laptop, screen, keyboard, mouse, but you could replace it just with your smartphone you're already carrying and just plug it into a dock. So this is
if I can go a little bit further on that one, we have a specific use case there where in elderly care, so homes where elderly people are being served for the last days. These nurses, they do all the things they need to do on the patient on the bedside. They do it with an X-Cover device. Then they go back to their, station, and then they plug it into DeX, and they can write their full report on a full keyboard with a mouse. So they have a very close connection with the patient at that moment. So not a cow with a screen before them, and they can do the reporting afterwards through DeX.
Really good, really good. Yeah, it's something that's been around for a couple of years, but it takes some time before people discover and implement and see the benefits of it. But we see it changing now with these type of use cases. So really good.
Understand.
There are no further questions. So to the people watching, thank you very much for tuning in. If you are inspired by what you heard today, please don't hesitate to reach out to one of these gentlemen. They are experts in their field. And for you, thank you very much for today, and hope to see you in the next one.
Thank you, Wincho.
Thank you.
All right.